thirsty. He grinned as he stumbled through the bar. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His breath really said it all. His car was parked behind the back door. Tuxedo black, El Camino, 1969. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His filthy fingers said it all. Yeah. Give it all. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. His lazy eyes said it all. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Well, he said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. He said, give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some more love, give me some love, give it all. All right, give it to me, yeah. All right, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, come on, come on, come on, come on. Well, he said, give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Give me some love, give me some love, give it all. Baby, give me some love. Well, na 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 na.
This is what I want now. No, I won't settle for anything else. I can't keep pretending. It's not getting to me. It's never ending. Can't give you what you need. Oh no, no. You're misbehaving. Yeah, it's getting to me. It's never ending. You can give anything, so you can go, go, go. Go, 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 go. Yeah, so I can focus. I just need to focus on myself. Oh, you better go, go, go. Go, 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 go. Yeah, so I can focus. I just need to focus on myself. Yeah. something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're so. And I quit my job for you, even quit some friends for you, 'cause you couldn't stand it, me all independent, so you had to have me for yourself. That was when I trusted you, when I could add up 2 and 2, when you promised we'd be together, you, me, forever. Now there's nothing left to lose. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, 'cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry. The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Tuesday, November 30th, 2021, and if it feels like Groundhog's Day to you, it's because we're beginning yet another trial where another police officer has killed yet another black person. We begin this morning with On the Clock, Georgia Ford is on location. We begin there.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Ben. As you
Georgia.
said, I am. Yep. I'm outside of the Hennepin County Courthouse. As you can see, Court TV is set up here. They're getting ready to start the trial proceedings for Kimberly Potter, the officer who is charged with fatally shooting Dante Wright. Ben, you and we've been covering this for the last few weeks leading up to this trial. We covered what those jury selection questionnaires had on them. And today is going to be extremely telling. I'll be in the courtroom. I'll be one of two journalists in the courtroom today as they begin those proceedings to figure out who's going to be on the jury. Some of those questions that they asked on that selection included, how favorable are you of Black Lives Matter? How favorable or unfavorable are you of police? And so again, very similar to what we saw in the Derek Chauvin trial, the officer who murdered George Floyd. What we saw in that trial was these same questions that continue to polarize our nation, that continue to divide us on either our allegiance for Black lives or the allegiance for law enforcement. And so it's going to be upon the state to not make this a political trial, to not make this about bad policing. We heard that theme. Continuously. This is an attack on police. We heard that theme in the Derek Chauvin trial. So I imagine we're going to hear that a lot today. Jury selection begins at 9 a.m. And one other thing on that jury questionnaire I'd like to point out, it asks people, potential candidates for the jury, it asks them how familiar they are with tasers, if they own any guns, because we are expecting the defense is going to lean in on the fact that Kimberly Potter says this was an accident. When she pulled over Dante Wright on April 11th, she had no idea that she had her gun. She thought she had her taser. And we've seen Attorney Crump. He's brought photographs to show the difference between a gun and a taser. Tasers being bright yellow. And so if you're holding that up in your peripheral, you would probably notice that your gun is black and not yellow. Very distinctive differences, and as well as weights. So we're expecting that the prosecution is going to counter that defense. Kimberly Potter saying that this was an accident. The prosecution is going to counter that by also pointing out the weight difference between a gun and a taser. As we think about going into this trial, we're going to be here for several weeks. There is no National Guard presence like there was for the Derek Chauvin trial. There is no huge fence surrounding the building. And so we're not anticipating that there's going to be as much action outside of the courtroom. However, the family of Dante Wright has been very clear in calling for the community to stand with them in solidarity, to help them demand for justice. We know around 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern, there's going to be some protesting that's going to happen outside of the courtroom. And then again this evening from 4 to 6. So we're going to continue to follow what's happening, not only in the courtroom, but what's happening here in the community, out in the streets. We heard from Dante Wright's mother yesterday, along with some other relatives and community leaders, about this trial. Yes, it's a pursuit for justice, they said, but they don't feel like they'll ever get justice, because true justice would be Dante Wright still being here. And so they're demanding accountability. They're also pointing to the longstanding history here in Minnesota where officers historically have not been held accountable when they're involved in killing someone. We saw a turn of events for Derek Chauvin, also Muhammad Noor, who was a Black Muslim officer who was involved in the death of Justine Damon, who was a white Australian woman. That was the first cop that we saw held accountable. You guys remember Philando Castile? We all saw that footage, but that officer wasn't held accountable. So there's been this long-standing history, and the community is standing up and saying that we need to continue in the path of, justice, like we saw in the case of Derek Chauvin, and they're hoping that that's going to trickle over here in this case as well, Ben.
Georgia, I want to ask, lean into one of the questions or one of the things that you brought to our attention. I think it's fascinating that they're asking about gun ownership and then simultaneously asking about their stance on Black Lives Matter. What's the sentiment that you're getting from just around the lawyers that are participating, the community? Is this not kind of obvious that they're trying to stack the bench with people who are in favor of, I guess, the Second Amendment and oppose Black Lives Matter, or am I reading it wrong?
No, I mean, I think that we're having those same thoughts and concerns as well. And it takes me back to mid-March of last year when, in Minnesota, there was snow, there was a blizzard happening. You had hundreds of people who came out here after the first or second week of the Derek Chauvin trial because they felt like there was not a fair jury selection process happening inside of the courtroom. And they didn't care if it was below zero. They didn't care if it was a blizzard. Everybody was watching. And so those same concerns are here. When you have questions like that, think about it. What Black person do you know that's going to say, oh, I'm very unfavorable of Black Lives Matter? What Black person do you know that's going to say that? And so if you're trying to find people to sit on this jury, maybe who are neutral, what does that say about your own humanity if you're a Black person and you're unfavorable of Black people, or you're neutral on that issue? Most Black people feel very strongly. And so is that going to automatically disqualify Black individuals from sitting on this jury? Those are the questions that we're asking. And even, more so when you look at the jury selection process for the 3 men charged in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery and Kyle Rittenhouse. You see these situations where you get these juries that are not diverse, that don't reflect America. And then you end up most times with verdicts that are not in favor of people of color. So those concerns are very valid. Even when you start looking at Second Amendment, the prosecution is probably hoping that they're going to find people who are knowledgeable about weapons. Because, I remember when this happened, my dad, who's a veteran, he called me and he said, there's just no way a training officer is going to mistake her gun for her taser. And so if you are knowledgeable of weapons, if you have any experience dealing with weapons, then you're probably not going to believe that account that she's trying to give, that this was an accident. And so I think that's more on that side, whereas the defense actually might want people who don't know much about weapons, who then could be easily convinced that it's very easy to mistake a taser for a gun, right? But we've also seen people point out that the gun is on one side and the taser's on another. And so, where you draw the weapon from also matters. So, there's a lot to dissect here. I did a deep dive on that jury selection questionnaire. I think there's nearly 80 questions on there. And we're going to see the defense go to bat for people they think are going to rule in their favor. And we're going to see the prosecution go to bat for people that they think will find Kimberly Potter guilty. That's a part of the process. But they're supposed to be looking for people to be impartial, and so that's, for me, where it's difficult, because this is supposed to be an impartial process. However, you're asking all these very impartial questions to see where people stand, and that can be used against jurors. And we saw that happen in the Derek Chauvin trial. We've seen that happen in recent trials where you have 11 white jurors and 1 Black juror. You get people who are disqualified for cultural values, things that are culturally specific. And so it's very telling to our jury selection process, and the fact that it really needs to be updated.
Thank you for that, Dwayne. Georgia, there's so many different angles on this particular story that we have to keep track of. We want you to come back, go and get warm. We have to discuss this a little bit more when we come back. I want to know about the logistics, because this is not going to be something that we can take our eyes off of, because we really need the American people to see it. Before I let you go, Tell us about the narrative that is being spun around this versus the Rittenhouse case, particularly in terms of how much attention this trial is being given versus the Rittenhouse trial.
Yeah, well, I think that they've tried to kind of keep this out of mainstream media. When you think about just how big the uprising was after George Floyd, and that Minneapolis was the epicenter of this global movement, I feel like strategically they've tried to not talk about this trial. They've tried to postpone the trials for the other 3 officers involved in George Floyd's murder to get things to calm down. And in some regard, Ben, that's been effective because we haven't seen the large turnouts that we were seeing last summer for the different community rallies and protests. Over an extended period of time, people are tired. They're exhausted of coming out here demanding for justice. Additionally, people have jobs. And so it's hard to continue to follow these movements day after day, week after week, month after month. And now, you're looking at more than a year time since George Floyd was murdered. And so, the case with Daunte Wright was a huge thing because it happened the 3rd week of the trial for the officer who killed George Floyd. And here in the Twin Cities area in St. Paul and Minneapolis, people were not surprised. People were pointing to this incident and saying, see, you still haven't fixed it. See, there's still an issue that's unresolved, that hasn't been addressed, that even a guilty verdict for Derek Chauvin cannot fix. And so, I don't know if coverage around the Kimberly Potter trial is going to ramp up. I do know that up until about a week or 2 ago, we weren't even certain that this trial was going to be live streamed or captured on camera, because in Minnesota, this is a state that traditionally does not allow cameras in the courtroom. However, there's been a push by community for transparency. And so what I've seen with my own 2 eyes, Ben, is a lot of folks on one side of this issue saying, why are these people always in the street protesting? But on the other side of that, when you think just simply of the fact that there are going to be cameras in this courtroom today, and that is solely based on the fact that people in this community stood up, they protested. On one occasion, they even went to the home of the judge presiding over this case, Judge Regina Chu, and demanded that there is a level of transparency in this criminal justice process. And so after that protest, we saw a motion come through that approved cameras being in the courtroom today. And so hopefully, people will lean in, they'll watch this and be able to see how we arrive at whatever verdict is going to come from this trial.
Georgia, and you're one of the few journalists that's going to actually be in the courtroom. Tell us about that and what we should expect from the rest of the trial.
Yeah, so today I'll be one of 2 journalists in the courtroom. There was a media lottery. This was very different than the way that they did the Derek Chauvin trial. The Derek Chauvin trial was the media list was determined based on a first come, first served basis, right? Well, this time they said, put your name in a hat and we'll draw whoever selected out of that drawing will be the people in this courtroom, which I was very skeptical of that process. It felt as though, me being an independent journalist, this was a way for them to not choose me intentionally. However, I was selected, and surprisingly, I am the only independent journalist who's going to be in the courtroom alongside CNN, the Washington Post, New York Times, local media such as CCO, Star Tribune, and whatnot. And so, we will have 2 people in the courtroom each day due to COVID restrictions. They're not allowing a ton of media to go in each day. So it's 2 journalists in the courtroom each day. And they have a list, I think, of maybe like 12 people. And so that list will rotate. So every 12 days, I'll be back in the courtroom providing coverage from inside. We are, however, restricted from tweeting or posting on social media, taking our own pictures. The only thing that we can really do once we get into that courtroom is take notes. And then when we have breaks, when court is in recess, we're allowed to leave the floor, the trial is happening on the 18th floor here at the Hennepin County Courthouse. We have to actually leave that floor and go to another floor in order to transmit our notes. And so it's very, very tedious, a lot of small details, but I am grateful that I'll be back in the courtroom. One thing I did realize about my coverage from inside the courtroom in comparison to mainstream media was my ability to really humanize the family.
That's right.
I remember being in the courtroom for the Derek Chauvin trial and seeing his brothers in the corner praying with Attorney Crump and the rest of their legal team. And to me, that was such a significant moment when they were waiting for Derek Chauvin to be sentenced, but that detail didn't show up on anybody else's notes. And so I do think, when you talk about the importance of independent journalism, even though we may not have the resources that mainstream media has, we have a different lens in which we are covering these stories that is very critical and very important. What's not documented can be denied. We've seen that historically happen. And so I know it's a big, a big responsibility, but I'm grateful that I was selected to be in there today.
What's not documented can be denied. Georgia Ford, we'll be checking in with you throughout today's episode. Thank you so much for being out there.
Absolutely.
I want to shift momentarily to discuss what's happening on Capitol Hill. While the Black community and marginalized communities all around this country are dealing with the realities of COVID-19, and dealing with the realities of all of the different issues that our communities are facing. The fact of the matter is that our leaders, particularly the Republican Party, have lost their mind and they're in Washington, D.C. acting like children. I'm speaking primarily of Representative Boebert. Representative Boebert is over the Thanksgiving weekend, over the break, she decided to take it to try to be a comedian. That's the best interpretation, and that's the most favorable interpretation that I could possibly give her, is that she was in fact trying to be a comedian. In her stand-up routine, which was rather pathetic and insulting, she decided to insult Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. I want us to take a listen to this first clip of Congresswoman Boebert deciding to attack Congresswoman Ilhan Omar in the most Islamophobic way imaginable. Take a listen in.
Actually, I have an Ilhan story for you. So, the other night on the House floor was not my first Jihad Squad moment. So, I was getting into an elevator with one of my staffers. And he and I we're leaving the Capitol, we're going back to my office, and we get in the elevator, and I see a Capitol police officer running hurriedly to the elevator. I see fret all over his face, and he's reaching, and I'm like, what? I can't, the door's shutting, like, I can't open it. Like, what's happening? I look to my left, and there she is, Ilhan Omar. Whoops. And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine. So we only had one floor to go, and I was like, do I say it or not? I looked over, and I said, oh, look, the Jihad Squad decided to show up for work today. Don't worry, it's just her staffers on Twitter that talk for her. She's not tough in person. She doesn't, yes. So there's a little bit of interaction with these folks.
Lauren Boebert, ladies and gentlemen, and non-gender conforming individuals, this is an elected official making fun of, and making fun, it just doesn't even really capture it. But this is where we are in our country, where elected officials are not only able to mock the faith and to insult them with as much vitriol as they can come up with, but this is actually the pathway forward This is their pathway to success. This is their pathway to prosperity. This is how a conservative can go from being the regional village idiot to being elected, by carrying on in this fashion. Representative Ilhan Omar responded and said, "Fact, this buffoon looks down when she sees me at the Capitol. This whole story is made up. Sad that she thinks bigotry gets her clout." Yeah, no, it is very sad. Anti-Muslim bigotry isn't funny and shouldn't be normalized. Congress can't be a place where hateful and dangerous Muslim tropes get no condemnation. But in fact, it is a place where it gets not the level of condemnation that you would expect from the greatest empire in the history of the world. We are seeing right now that this empire has decided that it is better off being in league with the people who decided to attack it on January 6th. Because we are not holding people like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz, we're not holding them accountable. Paul Gosar decides to create an animation showing the attack and murder of an elected official. We are not at the place in this country where we are holding people actually accountable. We're at a place where the bigotry is the pathway forward to getting political and economic power in this country. This entire exchange started with Paul Gosar. I want to take the first clip. Let's take a look at this first clip so you can see how all of this began before we see how all of it's going to conclude.
Policies are so pathetic and have done so poorly that the left has nothing else to do but troll the internet looking for ways to get offended and then try to target members and strip them of their committees. This is a dumb waste of the House's time. But since the Speaker has designated the floor to discuss members' inappropriate actions, shall we? The Jihad Squad member from Minnesota has paid her husband, and not her brother husband, the other one, over $1 million in campaign funds. This member is allowed on the Foreign Affairs Committee while praising terrorists. A Democrat chairwoman incited further violence in the streets outside of a courthouse. And then the cherry on top. My colleague and 3-month presidential candidate from California, who is on the Intelligence Committee, slept with Fang Fang, a Chinese spy. Let me say that again. A member of Congress who receives classified briefings was sleeping with the enemy. This is unacceptable, and this would never be.
This is happening on Capitol Hill. This is happening in the temples of what they would say is the greatest empire in the history of the world. And I wonder oftentimes if people really see what's going on. The Republican Party is underneath the full control of the very worst demographic they could possibly have elected. They're not sending their best. They're not sending their brightest. They're sending their deplorables. And that pathway to success goes through how deplorable they can actually be. This was Lauren Boebert on the floor of the House of Representatives defending Paul Gosar, who already was censured for his violence, for his violent animation. They always do this underneath the guise of plausible deniability. They always do these things underneath the guise of saying, listen, I was just joking. It was just a joke, or it was just comedy. The problem is that if we allow that to be an excuse, if we allow that to assuage our sensibilities because we know better, we do know that when they joke like this, they are doing it to stir up their masses who will not take it as a joke. Paul Gosar knows someone in his following will not take his anime as a joke. Lauren Boebert also knows that, in fact, they know it so well that those people came to the Capitol on January 6th. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with, and this is what is considered to be normal. And the problem is that we're facing so many dangerous issues right now. We are dealing with so many issues that require seriousness, but this is what we have. This is what we have on the House floor of the United States House of Representatives. I would like for us to play it again because I want you to put it into context. When the history of the United States is told, Lauren Boebert will get an honorable mention for being the village idiot.
Policies are so pathetic and have done so poorly that the left has nothing else to do but troll the internet looking for ways to get offended and then try to target members and strip them of their committees. This is a dumb waste of the House's time. But since the Speaker has designated the floor to discuss members' inappropriate actions, shall we? The Jihad Squad member from Minnesota has paid her husband, and not her brother husband, the other one, over $1 million in campaign funds. This member is allowed on the Foreign Affairs Committee while praising terrorists. A Democrat chairwoman incited further violence in the streets outside of a courthouse. And then the cherry on top. My colleague and 3-month presidential candidate from California, who is on the Intelligence Committee, slept with Fang Fang, a Chinese spy. Let me say that again. A member of Congress who receives classified briefings was sleeping with the enemy. This is unacceptable, and this would never be.
We're going to be talking about this more in the next segment because there was an apology or an attempted apology that actually unpacked this even worse. And it shows you just the depth of the depravity of what we're dealing with. I want to circle back and go back to Georgia Fort, who is on location out front of the courthouse for the Kim Potter trial. Georgia, before we get out of here for On the Clock, just give us an idea of what we should expect from the rest of the day.
Absolutely. Ben, as you can see, Court TV is set up here. They are preparing to live stream this trial. As I shared earlier, Minnesota is typically a state that does not allow cameras in the courtroom. However, about a week or two before the trial started, what we saw was protesters showing up at Judge Regina Chu's home, demanding transparency, demanding that this trial be live streamed. And so Court TV is here again. This was the vendor that provided video production services for the Derek Chauvin trial. And so they're here again. I was working with a small team of folks very late last night trying to get our technical infrastructure all in place so that we can start live streaming today. Today, what we'll see in the courtroom is some movement around jury selection. We're guessing that probably anywhere between 10 to 15 different candidates, potential candidates for the jury, will come into the courtroom. The prosecution and the defense will go through the questionnaire that they filled out. Within that questionnaire, which is available online. You can actually find it at blackpress.com, which you'll find on there 80 different questions. Some of those questions include, do you have relatives who have worked in law enforcement? Do you have friends who have worked in law enforcement? How favorable or unfavorable are you of law enforcement? And then questions about Black Lives Matter. Do you support it? There's also some questions on there that we discussed in terms of your experience dealing with guns. Do you own any guns? Do you have experience firing a gun? And the same thing with tasers. These questions are going to be critical as the defense lays out the fact that Kimberly Potter has said from the very beginning that this was an accident. Kimberly Potter, the former Brooklyn Center police officer, said she thought she had her taser when she pulled over Dante Wright on April 11th, but in fact it was her gun. And so on the prosecution side, we know that they're going to combat that by saying, there's no way you can mistake a gun for a taser, especially when you've been on the force for 20 years. You're a training officer. Tasers are yellow. Your gun is black. One is on the left, one is on the right. And the weight difference are very hard to mistake once it's in your hand. But even reflecting back, Ben, on why Dante Wright was pulled over, expired tabs, he had an air freshener hanging from his rear view mirror. These low minor offenses have already resulted in some law changes, I believe in Philly, where they're outlawing, these minor traffic stops that end up as fatal encounters for Black men and women, or men and women of color in general. And so this is a critical trial, but you know, also on the backdrop of both the Rittenhouse trial and the trial for the three people who, killed Ahmaud Arbery. One, Rittenhouse was found not guilty. The three men were found guilty. And so there's still this mixed bag. There's this, anticipation, this suspense of what is going to be the verdict. Are people going to really buy into Kimberly Potter, having this accidental, fatal mistake while she, was on the job that cost someone their life? Are they going to find her not guilty? People are, I think, on the fence. They really don't know what to expect, especially when you think about the fact that historically in Minnesota, officers have not been charged. Everybody saw Derek Chauvin found guilty, but before that, there was only one other officer who was found guilty, and that was Muhammad Noor. So the jury's still out, and that jury will be selected today. I'll be inside the courtroom. Unfortunately, we can't text or tweet or take pictures, so I won't really be able to communicate a lot while I'm in the courtroom. But we're expecting that court will end today around 4 or 5. There are some protests that are being planned outside of the courtroom, so we will try to bring you coverage of that as well. But Ben, we know based on information from the chief judge that jury selection is supposed to wrap up by no later than December 8th. They're planning on December 8th. Opening arguments are going to begin in this trial, and then probably about 2 to 3 weeks of testimony. We also know that Daunte Wright's father is going to do the Spark of Life testimony. Outside of that, there's been about a dozen individuals that have been slated to take the stand for the defense, including the former chief of police in Brooklyn Center, Tim Gannon. So it will be very interesting to hear from him because he also either resigned or was terminated right after this incident as he stood in the gap for Kimberly Potter and really advocated on her behalf. So both of them were terminated after Daunte Wright was killed, but he'll be taking the stand in defense of Kimberly Potter. So that will be a very interesting testimony to hear.
Georgia, thank you so much for being out there. That's all the time we have for On the Clock. We want to bring you back for more on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. People, y'all know who it is. You know the voice, you know the sound. Your boy James Bubba Williams, DJ Mixclusive, in the building. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Get your coffee, your tea, your drink, whatever it is you need. Get your morning started. I still ain't got no damn coffee, but it's okay, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome.
We can discover what we're hiding, making you move. It sure looks good.
According to the SLP, Laura Estrada. Hey, Laura. Shelby Hall, Roller Dragon, Esther Roach, and Black Magic, KFZ. What's going on, brother? Jill Potts. Hi. Brother Chuck Diesel.
Can't get you off my mind.
Afraid not. What's going on? Juanita, good morning, y'all.
I'm running too hot. I need to cool me down. I'm flying so high. I don't see the ground.
City Socialist, good morning. Tiger Katsune. What's going on, Tiger? Tyra G. Left is best. What's going on?
You set my soul on fire.
Hollywood. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. I'm in the dark a little bit, but I'm here. I got to plug my light up in a second, so y'all stay tuned. Brother Lateef, what's going on? Alexis, good morning.
Taking your time and I sure don't mind. Whatever inch of my body's getting wild. The way that you move is like a love machine. Come be my king and I'll be your queen. I'm running so hot, I need to cool me down. I'm flying so high, I don't see the ground.
William Moore, good morning. Rosie Bean, good morning, Rosie. then there was light.
But if you like to take a ride, we can discover what we're hiding. Baby, you set my soul on fire every morning.
Sophia Williams, good morning. Hey, Miss Sophia.
And maybe we can't get any higher.
Lily, good morning. Ricky, good morning.
We can discover what we're hiding.
Amber Layla, good morning to you, sister. Miss New Roots, Truth the Dragon, it's Truth the Dragon in the building. So, good morning, y'all.
Baby, you set my soul on fire.
That part, boy. Ooh.
And maybe we can't get any higher.
Good morning, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got more coming up, coming up next on the Benjamin Dixon Show, y'all.
Tell me what it is, what you want from me, what you want from me. Tell me what it is, don't tell me what it ain't. They try to throw salt, it just made the pressure raise. Going through a phase, gotta get myself out it. Don't talk about it, boy, they said you gotta be about it.
Mia M. Taylor, that was You Set My Soul on Fire.
Riding, cruising down the meadow, pedal to the meadow. Cool breeze
What's to be good? Good morning, Dilla. Good morning.
Trees, get that voice.
Brother Chuck Diesel, did I get you? What's going on, Brother Chuck?
But I swerve out. What's the moves for the night? What's the word now? What's the links? Hit me up, we could go now. I got hella pieces, she got hella features.
Susan Bradley, happy to see you too.
She be blowing shisha, reefer on me loud. Hope them boys don't creep up. I don't know a thing if you do not speak up. In my own world, I don't try to girl. Tell me what you want. Don't be trying to front like I ain't what you want. I ain't here to stun. Let me take you out for lunch. I'ma get you drunk, yeah, feeling on your buns. Licks in the blunt. I got ash in my cup. All these girls showing up, but I don't give a fuck. Cause you the one I want, girl. You the one I want. You the one I want, girl. You the one I want.
Y'all, so when I was just a little kid, I used to pray for a bicycle. Then as I grew older, I learned in Sunday school, that's not how prayer works. So I stole a bike and prayed for forgiveness.
So what she doing? She like nada. So she just chillin', about to get up in the shower. I said, alright, cool, I'ma be there in an hour. I just wanna live.
G, good morning. B, good morning.
I ain't got no time for no baby mama drama. All about my comments, my letters, no tomatoes. Always bragging what they got up in they wallet. Ain't no really telling if we let us see tomorrow. Get it on my own, I ain't really tryna bar. So I stay fly, gotta dress up in designer, sauna. Tell me what it is, what you want from me, what you want from me. Tell me what it is, don't tell me what it ain't. They try to throw salt, it just made the pressure raise. Going through a phase, gotta get myself out it. Don't talk about it, boy, they said you gotta be about it. So I be trying to face the world head on. Front seat, ride.
Alright, y'all, it's time for the time. Y'all welcome back to the screen. My brother from another mother, y'all, Dwayne. Roll that intro, sir.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
It is Tuesday. Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday, November 30th, 2021. I'm joined, as always, by my brother from another mother, DJ Exclusive on the ones and twos. How's it going, man?
Pretty good, sir. Pretty good, man. I'm here. I made it.
Man, I appreciate you making it, all things considered, bro.
Yeah, and apologies to everybody yesterday. Yesterday morning, found out another good friend of mine passed away over the weekend. So my ex-husband called me yesterday morning and told me the news, and it was like one of our good friends, his best friend. and just the way everything went down, it was a lot. So once my friend came home yesterday morning, he said he saw a body outside. It was just a lot going on, and I lost it. And shout out to Dwayne, man. Dwayne held me down. So shout out to Dwayne, man. I really appreciate that dude.
Yeah.
He held me down back here.
Hey, man, that's what's up, man.
James, condolences. That says even more that you're here, because man, you should be taking time off and just taking a step back.
You know, if I sit here and just not do anything, it gets worse. Yeah. So I'm like, I got to stay busy. I got to keep moving.
That's right, man. Yeah. Listen, one of the things I was thinking about that we need, because I need you all to help me thank my team, because you can't lie and say that there's somebody out here doing it better than us. And I want to thank my team. This is the end of the year. I think we need to have a Patreon-a-thon, so that I can thank every single person like James who is here, even though he's grieving the loss of a friend. And this is not the first time you've had to do this, brother. Like, I mean, in this year of COVID, and this year of this just being 2021, doing this show with you, we've had to come across this a couple of times, man. So thank you for being here this morning.
Man, anytime. Yeah, you're right, Ben. I'm just, I think I would have rather he passed from COVID versus the way that he passed, which was we thinking a car accident. Still not sure yet. But yeah, you already know, Ben. This year, a year alone, it's just like my guys, and I'm sure everybody knows. Y'all remember this just happened a few months ago. So yeah, it's been a lot. But hey, I'm here, man. I'm in y'all hands. Y'all know y'all got me. Y'all make me happy. Y'all keep me strong. So I appreciate y'all and I love y'all. So I'm here.
Hey, man. Love you back, brother. Appreciate you. And then the other thing I was thinking was, like, we have these voices in the background that just appear out of nowhere, and people have to delineate. So we're going to have to start getting a camera shot for Dwayne and for David, especially because I do want David to jump in and help guide us through this conversation about Representative Lauren Boebert, because there's just so many moving parts. And here's the thing. I was talking with Georgia about this last night as we were trying to discuss what today's show would look like. And we have juxtaposed Georgia Ford out in these streets getting amazing coverage, by the way. The shot was amazing, Georgia. Just like the framing was magnifique, right? But we have to then juxtapose it with this ridiculous from this fatuous moron that is Lauren Boebert, who is the darling of the Republican Party, right? We have people doing real work out in these streets fighting for justice. And David, we have this Lauren Boebert, and I want to start with this clip again. Let's start with the clip of her trying her hand at stand-up comedy, but her routine involves some of the most racist, Islamophobic tropes that you can imagine. Let's take a listen to D1. This is Lauren Boebert insulting Congresswoman Ilhan Omar over the Thanksgiving break.
Actually, I have an Ilhan story for you. So, the other night on the House floor was not my first Jihad Squad moment. So, I was getting into an elevator with one of my staffers, and he and I we're leaving the Capitol. We're going back to my office, and we get in the elevator, and I see a Capitol police officer running hurriedly to the elevator. I see fret all over his face. And he's reaching, and I'm like, "What? I can't. The door's shutting. Like, I can't open it. Like, what's happening?" I look to my left, and there she is, Ilhan Omar. Whoops. And I said, "Well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine." So we only had one floor to go, and I was like, do I say it or not? I looked over, and I said, "Oh, look. The Jihad Squad decided to show up for work today." Don't worry, it's just her staffers on Twitter that talk for her. She's not tough in person. She doesn't, yes. So, we've got a little bit of interactions with these folks.
It's just her staffers. She's too good to speak to the people like me.
Right, David. Right.
I speak to you and give you my crap jokes, and she doesn't speak to anybody. That's her staffers on Twitter. That's nobody.
Right. This is sad. Right. I just want to start here. This is sad because, white supremacy is not supreme at all. It's a joke. It's like, is this the best that you all? Is this the best Western civilization has to offer? Then I think it's time for us to bring this to a conclusion. David, how did all the apologies? How did that all work out?
Yeah. So, if you want to call it an apology, Dwayne put up D3. So Boebert tweeted an apology from her official account, Ben, and you could see it on screen. I think you have it on our.
I'll read it for you. I'll read it for you. She doesn't have a very deep vocabulary. I'm sure I can make my way through this one.
Yeah,
she said, "I apologize. I apologize to anyone." I'm an asshole. I apologize to anyone in the Muslim community I offended with my comment about Rep. Omar. I have reached out to her office. I'm trying to read it like her. Reach out to her office to speak with her directly. There are plenty of policy differences to focus on without this unnecessary distraction. I'm sorry, Sway. You created this. How are you going to complain about a distraction that you created?
Right. And see, this could have been a not just your typical non-apology. But you had to add that little last part in, like this isn't my doing, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, you're right, David. It's that passive aggressive apology. It's an apology. It's sorry, not sorry. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Hold on, man. You queued it up perfect. You said you were trying to read it like her. If you was going to read it like her, it would have sounded like this.
Wait a minute. Wait. Nope. You cannot play that unless you show the people what we're talking about. You got to show the video. We give you Congresswoman
to the artist, honestly.
No. That's what they say. Congressman Lauren Boebert.
Party till I die. That's my dog, right?
Wait. What did Lauren Boebert say? This unnecessary distraction. Anyway, what did Ilhan Omar say? Because I know she clapped back pretty good.
Oh, man.
What was her response?
She responded. I think we showed her first response earlier. She had a second response shortly after this supposed apology, and she said that saying I'm a suicide bomber is no laughing matter. She called out the leader, McCarthy, and Speaker Pelosi, saying they need to take appropriate action, normalizing this bigotry and not only endangering her life, but the lives of all Muslims. Anti-Muslim bigotry has no place in Congress. So she's been, even after this, she's continued calling out McCarthy because he's radio silent, and so far the Dems the leadership. I don't think they've really spoken up as strongly as they did after the Gozar incident. The video.
See, this is why I talk about their mamas. Mm-hmm. This is why I talk about. I have no respect whatsoever for any Republican whatsoever, because if you're okay with Lauren Boebert talking about Ilhan Omar and calling her a terrorist, right? Then you should be okay with me celebrating that Rush Limbaugh is still dead every day. See, you're not going to shoot and we not shoot back, rhetorically speaking. You're not going to be cruel to us and we don't return cruelty, because the best I can tell, Lauren Boebert probably put in some butt implants to make herself look appealing to her masses. Because, come on, I mean, Lauren Boebert is kind of like struggling here, and she's the best that you all can do. This is white supremacy run amok. This is white mediocrity. I got to correct myself. I'm so tired of calling it white supremacy. This is like white mediocrity is what we should call it from now on. But this is the pathway, fellas. This is how they get to power. The crueler you can be, the more ignorant that you can be, right? The more bigoted that you can be, the faster you ascend to the top of the Republican Party. Ask Donald Trump.
Ben, there's a reason McCarthy and team are being silent, because they're covering their bases, especially. I
heard that on Twitter, by the way. Somebody on Twitter said she put in butt implants on this video, and I died laughing so hard. I'm like, why y'all do that lady like that? Okay, go ahead, David. Let's be serious. Let's be serious.
I do see like the little puffiness, but never mind.
I'm gonna.
They used to hate it. Remember when having a big butt was something that they, oh my God.
Look at her butt. It's so big.
Now they sell Spanx. But anyway, I digress. Shout out to black women. Go ahead, David. You were saying.
So McCarthy wants to be speaker, obviously, so he's being safe. But there's a portion of the party that's, just completely okay and on board with this. This next clip, D5, is the Pueblo County Republican chair, Robert Leverington, who supports it outright.
All right. Let's see.
I think the Congresswoman Boebert probably expressed the sentiment of many Americans. This Congresswoman Omar has been poking her finger in the eyes of many Americans over the last couple of years, and we're sick of it.
Man, that man is like one Philly cheesesteak away from a comorbidity, man. Look, I got nothing to say. I mean, I know I'm fat, but God damn, that boy look greasy.
Bitch. This is not what I signed up for this morning, okay, Benjamin? We will not play with you today. But he did sound like he one cheeseburger away from the grave, my dog.
Most Americans
want Jesus' voice with everybody.
I'm just saying, she represents all the good God-fearing Americans. What else you got, David?
Oh, man. Not playing with Ben today.
David, you got some more? Is that it? That's the
yesterday,
you got David all messed up over there.
Yesterday, there was a meeting between a phone call between Boebert and Omar. It didn't result well, as you might expect, because Boebert refused to publicly apologize. We should
just call her Breitbart, because Boebert is hard to say. Lauren Breitbart, go ahead.
It is. I kind of want to know where the ancestral thing behind her name is, but that's all right. Anyway,
Savage. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong. My bad. Go ahead. I'm gonna get that one right later on. Go ahead, David.
Yeah. So we're doing roll D6. This is Boebert's recap of their call. Neanderthal.
Hey everyone, this is Lauren with a quick update on a phone call I had today with squad member Ilhan Omar. I had reached out to her Friday, and 3 days later I was able to connect with her on the phone because I wanted to let her know directly that I had reflected on my previous remarks. Now, as a strong Christian woman who values faith deeply, I never want anything I say to offend someone's religion. So I told her that, even after I put out a public statement to that effect. She said that she still wanted a public apology because what I had done wasn't good enough. So I reiterated to her what I had just said. She kept asking for a public apology. So I told Ilhan Omar that she should make a public apology to the American people for her anti-American, anti-Semitic, anti-police rhetoric. She continued to press, and I continued to press back. And then Representative Omar hung up on me. Rejecting an apology and hanging up on someone is part of cancel culture 101 and a pillar of the Democrat Party. Make no mistake, I will continue to fearlessly put America first, never sympathizing with terrorists. Unfortunately, Ilhan can't say the same thing, and our country is worse off for it. Please know I appreciate you and your support. I appreciate you understanding that I will always shoot straight with you. This isn't about religion. It's about the horrible, failed Democrat policies and anti-Americanism that I will call out each and every time I hear it. I am here to protect your freedom and continue making this the greatest nation our world has ever seen. God bless you and God bless America.
I was going to say that it's kind of anti-American what she's doing towards Muslims, but it's not, unfortunately.
It's very American. It's very American what she's saying, and it's very American, especially within the Republican Party. One thing that Greasy Bastard had to say was accurate was that it does represent a good portion of the Republican Party. I don't think it represents a good portion of America, But this bigoted sentiment does represent a good portion of the Republican Party. And the question remains, is there anyone redeemable in that lot? Are there any good faith actors that consider themselves to be conservative? Because if you exist, then you have to look at, what's that second character from Mean Girls? The one that tried to make fetch happen? You have to look at her and realize, you absolutely have to look at her and realize that she is representative of the race to the bottom for humanity. The fact that this bigotry is how you get to the top represents literally the descent into destruction for America. So if there's any good faith Republicans out there, I would love to talk to you. The phone lines are open. David, what are the phone lines? We have phones now. What's the phone number they can call in? Because you got to know that this type of foolishness is only going to lead to the destruction of this country. Does anybody, am I being hyperbolic? Is that too much? Does anybody else see that?
No, I think they just keep pushing it further and further, pushing that envelope further. There's no envelope left to be pushed.
Right.
There it is.
Yeah,
There's no envelope left to be pushed.
So Omar did have a response if you care to see it, but it's basically just saying she wants action. And we're still, I don't know if we should hold our breath because unfortunately the Democrats don't seem to be moving like they did with the AOC situation, which is a broader conversation, I think a bigger conversation.
Yeah. Let's run that clip. Let's see Ilhan Omar.
So that's not a clip. That's a graphic.
That's a graphic. Okay.
Can put up D7.
I'm not reading all that. David, you got it.
Damn. Here you go. I got you.
I got you.
Because when you called for that clip, I was like, wait, I ain't got no D7 clip. But here we are. So Representative Omar says, today, I graciously accepted a call from Representative Lauren Boebert in the hope of receiving a direct apology for falsely claiming she met me in an elevator, suggesting I was a terrorist, and for a history of anti-Muslim hate. Instead of apologizing for her Islamophobic comments and fabricated lies, Representative Boebert refused to publicly acknowledge her hurtful and dangerous comments. She instead doubled down on her rhetoric, and I decided to end an unproductive call. I believe in engaging with those we disagree with respectfully, but not when that disagreement is rooted in outright bigotry and hate.
Come on, somebody.
The Republican Party leadership has done nothing to condemn and hold their own members accountable for repeated instances of anti-Muslim hate and harassment. This is not about one hateful statement or one politician. It's about a party that has mainstreamed bigotry and hatred. It's time for Republican leader McCarthy to actually hold his party accountable.
Dwayne, you do that so much better than me. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not a reader. Wait. I was going to say I was going to offer somebody some money to Google this for me. I was going to say I'm not a reader, I'm a leader. But that guy's dead now. God rest Herman Cain. God rest his soul. Y'all go get vaccinated. Let's go to break, James, before I get canceled this morning. When we come back, like it or not, with the Rebecca sword, it's going down. That's all I got, y'all.
I don't even know.
Sorry to that man.
I'm not saying. You don't have nothing to say. You just put your head down and look away like.
You don't really know one thing about you.
Yeah, you going to hell. You going to hell. You going to hell now. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. Like it or not, it's coming up next.
So all you want is what up. You're always on the run, what up? I mean, don't get me wrong, but what up? Or was I not the one you dreamt of? No. Cause the life you live will never be enough. Why don't you stop for a minute? Just relax yourself. This moment will never come back again. It's sad you never thought I was good enough, but I called you Ace, your kingdom, and it's all a bluff. It's all a bluff.
Lee, Six Dragon Daddy. Get off my chat, man.
It's sad you never
Jesus. Y'all are terrible people. All right, real quick, y'all, while we got some downtime, while we getting, like it or not, just getting ready to start, we are going to get our new patrons read off here. I missed a good bit from yesterday. I can't stand y'all sometimes. All right, y'all, our new patrons. We have Jeremiah S, Susan S, Danny N, April 559, who increased their pledge. We have Sandra W, Case R, Sophia W, Kat G, Rusty E, who increased their pledge, and our new Twitch subscribers. We have Sammy Lynn the Con Dragon. What's up, Sammy Lynn? Afro Puff resubscribed for 1 month and commented, thanks to Sammy Lynn the Con Dragon for my sub gift. And they've been subscribed for 9 months. We have Fat Guy Named Tiny resubscribed. All right, Fat Guy Named Tiny. That's a double. All right. Ray Vanna resubscribed and commented, thanks to that Chicken Fried Dragon for my sub gift, excuse me. And Mimosa Dragon gifted a subscription to Progressive. Hey man, y'all make sure that if you have not already, patreon.com/likeitnornot, patreon.com/likeitnornot, or patreon.com/thebpp show. Y'all go on there and get y'all tails over there and join the Patreon, man. Increase that page as well. So whatever you do, we love y'all, mean it. Good morning, Mama and Daddy.
It's all a bluff.
I got one for you. Since
oh God, I'm scared.
Since we haven't had any from you in a while.
Right.
So last night I was gonna cook alligator for dinner. But I realized I only had a crock pot.
Hey, Dwayne.
Yep.
I picked up a hitchhiker last night, right? And he asked, how do you know I'm not a serial killer? I said, the chances of 2 serial killers in one car is astronomical. Welcome, Dwayne, to the Dad Joke family, y'all. Look, I'm a dad joke connoisseur by association.
Sticks and stones.
I'm so
break my bones.
Goddamn right.
No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right.
I can't stand y'all.
Wrong, and it still can't hurt me.
Oh, but no, man, I got a trick for y'all as well, too. If you ever lock out of your house, start talking to your lock calmly and clearly. Because after all, good communication is key.
You know it's hard to be polite, and it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when you ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said it could have been my celly. She's a prisoner. That's what everybody tell me. Man, life ain't a beach, it's a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off you walls. Loving people who persecute you, it's still a tough life. On my path and the lamp under my feet.
Oh man, I can't sit there. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. Like it or not, it's coming up next with our sister from another mister, Rebecca Azor.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me.
Baby, sweetheart, good morning, sister. Amen, and thank y'all so much for the love and the condolences as well, too. I appreciate y'all.
No, it just can't hurt me.
Hey, y'all know what, though? As I looked at my naked body in the mirror, I realized that I was going to get kicked out of IKEA.
No, you just can't hurt me. No, no, no. No, you just can't hurt me.
Man, we can do this all day.
See, it's hard to be polite. It's easy being petty. Mama used to tell me, gotta use you when you're ready. Cause I ain't working on my own.
Y'all done got me started. So now, hey, Dwayne. Dogs can't operate MRI machines, but cats can.
Let's keep it real, it'd be better if we just subtract the fake. Yeah, so be a light up on my path and the lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. My victory be looking like the verge of defeat. And I feel like disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say sticks and stones
Oh, man. Since we just tripping sometimes. I bought some shoes from a drug dealer. I don't know what he laced them with, but I've been tripping all day.
I got that one like 2 weeks ago.
See, I was gone.
Right, you were gone, Dwayne. It's okay. I ordered a thesaurus recently. When it arrived, all the pages were blank. I have no words to describe my anger. Here it is, y'all. Y'all haven't heard it in a couple of weeks. You gonna hear it today, goddamn it. Like it or not.
It's time for Like It or Not, y'all. 9 a.m. to 10:30, yeah. Like It or Not is on your channel, yeah. Politics and culture, we change skin like we're supposed to, yeah. Interviews and all the news, we get to choose what gets the views. Like It or Not with Queen Azor, it's starting now, so stick around. Like it or not, it's going down.
They in the chat room talking about what bro Mac at. All morning, bro. I already
show
know.
started, people was asking for pictures of
You know she got a good story for you. Oh, Benjamin, that's my This is
right. Y'all thirsty today.
He's a politics pro. I am your DJ.
Nick Eden, I got you, brother. What's going on, Nick Eden?
Y'all know who I am. I stay dropping them jams. Like it or not, it's going down. Like it or not, y'all stick around. Oh, like it or not, it's starting now. Like it or not, it's about to go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Jesus, I almost forgot.
Good morning, and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth.
And not Kevin doesn't like it. Damn.
It's supposed to be a little bit better.
I blame Ben. I blame
It is Tuesday,
Ben.
November.
I blame
Well,
Ben.
you know, I would like to. I just, I got a couple messages on the break, James, and I just want to take a moment to extend my heartfelt apologies for offending Neanderthals and comparing Lauren Boebert to a Neanderthal. I know really good Neanderthals, and it was really offensive of me to say some just ass backwards stuff like that. So to all the Neanderthals, forgive me. I stand canceled.
The Neanderthal.
I think
in other news,
Boebert not high enough to be a Neanderthal. She's probably a primordial sludge that we all came from. Stuff
primordial
in the toilet,
goo.
basically. Goo. You hear me? See some stuff in the toilet. See that stuff in the toilet that after you haven't cleaned it in like a few months, but it's just like it's just sitting like ring. That's what she is. Like, girl.
She's that mold. She's that mold you've been ignoring at the top of your shower. Please go up there and clean it, because it's only going to get worse. That's a little.
It's going to get worse.
On that note, I think we have like good news and bad news for the audience.
What's the good news and the bad news, David?
Oh man,
which one should we start with?
Give me the bad news. I like bad news first.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we will be off air.
You said bad news.
Might be good news.
So to the audience, to the audience. I'm out of pocket this morning, but listen, we're going to be off tomorrow. We're going to be off tomorrow, just for a lot of reasons. There's a lot of reasons that our team needs to take tomorrow off, and we know the audience gets a little. Excuse me. They don't. You guys don't like it when we take off, but there's, We're structuring this program to go the distance. So if you all will just allow us a couple of days as we do a couple more things, housekeeping. So that means tomorrow we will not have a live show. We will be streaming the best of or a replay tomorrow. So David, yes, that's terrible news. Hate to break it to the audience like that. What else we got?
Thursday we'll be back. Ben will probably not be with us. The good news is that I think we have a patron party coming up on Friday.
Oh. Actually, I think we're going to do more than just a regular patron party. We need to do a Patreon-a-thon, like I mentioned in the last segment. I need to thank my team. I need to give everybody a Christmas bonus, and I just don't make the money like a lot of white progressives make out here, so I need to make an appeal to the audience. On Friday, James, you tell us what time we're going to start, and we're going to have a Patreon. I want to get 1,000 new patrons on Friday. Probably won't happen, but if I don't speak it into existence, it definitely won't happen. So we're going to party. We're going to party on Friday until we hit our goal. That way I can give everybody on the team a nice Christmas bonus. That's what I want to do Friday. What y'all think?
I'm cool with that. What time y'all want to start?
I ain't never going to turn down no bonus. So Patreon-a-thon on Friday, people. Patreon-a-thon on Friday.
I thought that you would like that.
I got a lot of stuff coming up next week. So yeah, what time y'all want to start? I mean, I work from 11 to 7, but if I need to start at 5 p.m., then we can go to 5 to 5. That's a long time. I don't know about all that, but yeah.
Listen, the twerking can commence at 8 a.m. as far as I'm concerned. So we'll be playing. We'll be playing music as long as people are becoming patrons. Patreon-a-thon on Friday. We'll get the exact start time and we'll roll it out to everyone. So that's the even better news. The bad news is tomorrow we will not be live. So, all right, David, what else do we have on the list?
We have a guest that is ready to join us.
Oh, we are so honored.
And Miss Rebecca said she is she might be outside the club. Might be. She said she logging in. Might be.
Okay. So then let's do this. Okay, James, you have a song you could play for us and give us a second to get Rebecca in and get our guest in, our most distinguished and honorable and noble guest that we have today.
Yes.
Let's take it to a break. And when we come back, we're going to be joined by some really dope people. We'll be back after this.
Being hurt my soul, y'all, if y'all ain't know. All right, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. Y'all got the sleeves on. Now it's going ahead. Time to light the globe up, y'all. Let's light it up. Good morning, everybody. Light it up, light it up. Light it up, light it up. Sandy, good morning. Goku, what's going on, brother Goku? Nat A, I know Nat A is somewhere in the building. Nat A, good morning. Taj Newby, what's going on? Warren, good morning. Patty P.
I'm in line with the stars, I'm in sync with the earth. 10 toes deep, flower child from the turf. I never switch sides, like even when I die, I'ma ride for the squad, light up tires in the hearse. I've been on the vibe, kinda hard to describe. I'm in between, I'm good and it's fine, but I'm tired of the grind. Then I come alive in the night to realize I'm in the middle of the time of my life. I never so packed for the stack, never lied on the rack. Got a bag from the way that I write it. Queen looking Tyson, do that I survived, doing 80 to the house, then I hit it to the sky, change haters on a tirade. Talking to the crib in the face, be still, let that hate stuff fade. We all want the same, we all want a meal in the safe. I wanna live like I'm trying to reach enlightenment. Trail spill from my lips, feel big from the bib. Take a sip till I pass out. Try and get grit, but it don't make sense. Cause you can lose life on this fast route. Yeah, turn thoughts to
Sylvia Jones, good morning. Seven Sweetheart, good morning. It get a 9. Good morning.
Chase. I just wanna eat, save a spot at the table. Beast with the slack, pin myself on the map. You long with the wind, but we knowing that it's cap. 5-hour flights, couple nights at the flat. To be real, couldn't see me making moves while I'm at. I'm still on the grind. to give a piece of myself to the page. I don't do it for the praise, love. That's just how
Melanie Dennis, good morning.
Yeah.
Do it at me, old man.
Carly Wynn, good morning to you.
First one to talk, but the last one to hear. Eyes blurry, but I couldn't see that. And he cleared down.
I said, hey, good morning to Mama and Daddy. She ain't never say nothing in the chat room. She is so rude. Probably putting up some Christmas trees. Good morning, Mama.
But it's all fun. We done seen it all.
Lipsy, good morning. Randy Rebel, good morning to you.
10 bad here, I'ma curve them all. 12 missed calls, and I still made a curtain call. Hit to light it up, lighten up. Heard him talking, they ain't right enough, tighten up. Everything that I came for, I left with. I don't bang sets, I just bang on the set list.
Case, good morning. That is adorable. You gotta make sure you send us a video.
Young, reckless, gold in my soul, got the same on my necklace.
Tasia, good morning. Laura Stroud, they know I have no sense at all. Well, thank you, mother. LeBron Rebels, good morning. What's to be good, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. My mama, good morning to you.
I'm a little bit naughty. I'm a little bit too consumed, but every part of my body is telling me to run away from you. Come a little bit closer. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Case, that is adorable.
Yeah. You're a little bit crazy.
All right, y'all, welcome back to the screen. My brother from another mother, Benjamin Dixon, and our lovely guest, Miss Olay.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back. Welcome back. We are joined by our sister, Olayemi Olurin, public defender, and just, I don't know, wig snatcher. You don't take no mess. Sis, how you doing?
Good. Good morning, guys. I'm so happy to be here.
Happy to have you, and Rebecca is going to be joining us shortly. We wanted to go ahead and get you on, and because, listen, I want to apologize to you publicly. I know it's no big deal to you, but I really do take those things very seriously. I'm so sorry we had you.
Man, I just got my rest.
Okay, well then that's even better.
Small dicks. I was like, oh, God, you ain't
when it popped up that day, Olay, I was just like, wait, it says Olay is on, but I'm like, nobody's here. I'm like, what's going on? Wait. Is Olay supposed to be here?
I was sitting there ready, but then I was like, listen, God literally wanted me to have a nap. That's literally, I thought, do you see me? I was like, well, I tried. I was like, I made a good faith effort. I DM'd going to go back there.
Deep in my spirit, I knew we were on one accord because that's what it works. Yeah. Like whenever I get canceled, I remember one of Roland Martin's producers said, "Ben, some bad news. I got to cancel you tonight." I said, "Praise the blessed name of Jesus." I wanted to go to sleep. So,
yes,
we're on one accord.
You'd be like, "Woo, sweet."
But I also wanted to be sure because you out here snatching people's wigs, and I just wanted to make sure that you didn't snatch what I have left, so.
Man. Unintentionally.
It's because they're out here, they're really trying it, and I don't even know where to really start. There's a lot of cases that I would like to get your input on. The first is the Kim Potter trial that's happening. Our sister Georgia Ford, she's out in front of the courtroom where it's taking place, and we were listening. She was telling us about some of the questions that are being asked, and I know that during the jury selection process, these are the types of questions that they ask. They want to see what type of attitude a particular juror is going to have towards the underlying issue. That doesn't make it sit well with me when they ask if you are familiar or do you support Black Lives Matter.
Right. Oh my God. They did that in the last trials too. I actually found that question infuriating, and I actually think it's improper. And in the last case, let me see, I think in the Rittenhouse cases and in the Ahmaud Arbery cases, those things were asked in the jury deliberations too.
And I found it infuriating because there was an implication that if you support this movement, you can't be objective at all, right? You are unqualified to sit on a jury. And also the problem with that too is Black Lives Matter is a huge movement. It's not like some small offshoot organization and a couple of people might support this and let's get them off the jury. It's the largest civil rights movement in the history of our country. So now every time we get a case where we barely ever even get police officers who kill Black people to trial, and now every time we get them to trial, they're going to actively try to wipe off anybody Black on the jury just wholeheartedly. And then God forbid anybody purports to be an ally of any kind, is supportive, sympathetic to the movement, just simply unable to be objective. It's an unreasonable inference. It wouldn't sit right with me either. I understand that for a defense attorney's purposes, you have to do your job, but nobody else has to like it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And and for that to be considered a part of due process and justice, and then I am thinking about, I would love to get your feedback on that closing argument. I know it's all tied together, but that closing argument in the Ahmaud Arbery trial, where that defense attorney decided to attack Ahmaud Arbery down to his quote unquote dirty toes. And the reason I'm bringing that up in this context is because people kind of said, well, you know, she's got to give him the best defense that she possibly can. That doesn't
none
mean
of
I
that.
have to be okay with
None
it.
of that.
Yeah.
No, first of all, let's be clear. Let me say something as a defense attorney. Beyond your moral objections, that's not the best defense you could give him. That does nothing to win over jurors. Let's be honest, right? There's a world, and I've said this before. If your argument is that these men acted under a reasonable belief, that at the time they believed that he was a robber or, that's why they were doing this, that's one thing to suggest that at the time they had this mistaken belief, but it was a reasonable belief. They acted on that and that's what happened, right? That's a different argument than, oh, they originally thought this, and despite no evidence to this fact, we're going to get up in this trial for this victim of murder and vilify them like the victim. That's actually insane as a strategy. As a defense attorney, you look at how the jury's going to feel about things, and you dictate how you talk about your victims, how you talk about the victims in the case, how you interact with them based on that. So this idea that in a case where a man was wrongfully, he was jogging, that's the fact, that's established. He's jogging, 3 men participated in this racial profiling, essentially hunt him down, kill him in broad daylight. Now his family, his mother is sitting in the courtroom, and you are you about his nails? You talking about his nails? That was the most morally bankrupt, egregious thing I ever did see, and it was outrageous that the prosecutor should have objected, but I let her rock just because I think she did a better job than a lot of these prosecutors I've seen in some of these similar cases in recent years. I let her rock, but she should have objected, and that was egregious.
Big fan.
Look who just popped on the screen. Yes, it
My
did.
girl.
Look at y'all in the middle looking all good. Ben, we just need to go. Dwayne, take Ben and I down. Them sisters right there is doing the damn thing. Dwayne, you can take us down. Let them run it.
I digress.
Y'all looking good, man.
Thank you. And thank you. Look, and Olay, you always look good as usual. I love to see you. But Dwayne, you could have gave me a heads up.
He did. He did, actually.
The Slack,
he put it in Slack, Rebecca.
Yes, but the Slack is not connected to my phone. So when I'm on the computer, it's widescreen. I do the screen widescreen. So it's no longer on my phone. I'm having issues putting it on there.
I'll take that one. My bad.
Take it.
My bad.
Thank you. Yes. But no.
That's the only one you get, though.
Olay, you have been just covering these cases very, very very well. It was this one moment where you had to check one of the women on one of them networks you work on and let her know that, ma'am, we don't do racism around here. Let's be clear. You said you don't mince words. That's what you said. You said I don't mince words. This is racism, pure racism. And I lived for that moment because the white on her face was gone. Like she was weird. And I thank you for that because we don't have people we have people in these spaces who are afraid because they think they're going to come off, unprofessional. And in the way that you told her, you were like, hey, listen, I don't mince words. Look, I'm a Black woman. Okay. So when we're talking about these cases, I'm going to be honest. And I live for that because there are a lot of people who do what you do, who are afraid to really, use a moment to speak up and be real about it. So thank you.
Yeah, no one wants the backlash. But the thing I've come to terms with, I've had these conversations. I feel like people in similar spaces, I talk to doing similar things, and they try to tell me what thing that they think these people are going to be upset about, and I think about it, and I'm just like, you know what? As at the end of the day, right? Like they're not gonna be happy with nothing I say. Anybody who is
Girl,
racist or supports these kinds of institutions is never gonna like me. You know what I mean? There's no mild, there is no downplayed version of what I say that is gonna make a racist happy. So I might as well just speak for and to my people. So I'm like, listen, that's racist. Listen, I got time. Like I don't have time.
Yeah.
Hold on,
I love it.
I was down there chilling.
Yeah, they're never going to accept you for who you are, and I see the comments too when you said, because when you're speaking the truth, it's a problematic when it's coming from a black professional. Girl, you know, and I said, girl, listen, I can definitely relate. When I first got in this thing, bro, they used to read me. I had braids like this in, and I was going off like Donald Trump. You can't do that. This is what the people are going through. This is it in Charlottesville. Girl, they came for me. They was like, listen, carpet head. They called my braids carpet. No, go back to where you came from.
Holy shit! What the hell?
Yes. Girl. No, that's the ridiculous part. No, that part is ridiculous. No, I've been getting slandered and dragged for about a week or 2 weeks now. Let me see the right. I think it's been about 2 weeks since the right has introduced to me and decided they hate my guts. And they be saying that they talk about my hair, my this, and I'm like, listen. You can say a lot. You don't have to like my politics, but don't say I'm not cute. Let's not get up in there with all these lies.
They can't say you're not cute because they'll say stuff like, she's real, who is she mixed with? Who is she look like? Whatever. Or they say, I want to rape her. Or I want to, they say those kind of things. I'm like,
Jesus. It escalated quickly.
They're really sending me messages like that. I feel sorry for people with the like when it comes to attacking me, because first of all, let me be reasonable. I can understand why one would dislike me on that kind of level, right? Like I can see why I'm a polarizing character. Like, I'm like, if you don't like whatever this particular kind of person is, I'm a lot of whatever that thing is. If you already don't like it, so I get it. They can go ahead. There doesn't need to be excuse. I'm not mad at it.
It goes without saying, but I disown those white people.
No, as you should. But I'm not even mad at them. Like, do your thing. My problem is, don't come and talk to me from behind an anonymous account and an anonymous photo, because let me talk to you the way I want to talk to you. You talking to me crazy now? Let me put you in there. Come on. Let's do it. Let's make this fair. Show me your picture. Show me your picture, because you cannot be meaner than I'm going to be. I think that's the problem. I'm like, please don't come for me, because I will verbally put you in the dirt. As soon as I see a picture,
but I ain't gonna lie.
Is that a real name?
I ain't gonna lie. When I was a little baby, a political journalist, my journalism used to be regurgitating the everyday, coming up at 6 o'clock, coming up at 6 p.m., straight ahead. That was my, regurgitating that off of the teleprompter. Now these people on here were really coming for me, and I'm like, Ben, do you see what they saying, Ben? Ben was like, listen, you need to not go into the comment section. You need to
wait. I said the opposite. I said you need to go. No, my advice at the time was go and desensitize yourself to it, because they're going to give it to you all the time, every day.
No, it wasn't right. You guys, I was trying to fight.
It is surprising. It is surprising the first time you see it. No, it is shocking. Like when I did the Bad Faith podcast with Brianna Joy Gray like a week ago. In my mind, first of all, let me just be clear. All these people be mad at me, and I be like, am I upset? I don't get people I'm giving you jokes. I'm giving you lighthearted. What are you upset about? So in my mind, I did that interview. I was like, smoke that. Yeah. I got on the comments. I was like, I hate her. I ain't never seen.
They never met you, ain't never nothing, and they'll hate you. They'll talk about your family, but then they say they want to have sex with you. One guy did this whole video on me. Remember, Ben? And he.
Oh my God!
It
was Tommy Sotomayor.
Yes,
it was that
yes,
clown.
It was.
And he was tied into that stuff yesterday.
Yes, and my nails have always been like this. This ain't nothing new. And he was like, I mean, what the hell is she talking about? She sounds like a ghetto such and such. But he said she is fine though with them grabbers. He called my nails grabbers, and he was just really, it was horrifying.
I mean,
he needs to put lotion on, right? He's a.
I mean, they do kind of remind me of them things they really give to the old people to pick up stuff off the ground.
Just be quiet. Just be quiet, Dwayne.
Straight.
No, that is really the type of time they're on.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we gonna still get up and do it again. So y'all gonna be mad every day. I still got up and did this every day. And now I really don't give a damn. It be people in our own, show, trying to check me. I love you guys so much, mean it, but I just move on. After I get off of the show, I go live my life. And that is I go live my life.
Absolutely. In my mind, I'm a Leo, first of all. I'm like, y'all can't offend me. All you do is I know, right? I'm like, listen, I don't know what to tell. You know how ridiculous I am? Just to give you an example. My
girl, and you're Bahamian though. So you're like 3 times ridiculous. You're a black woman, you're Bahamian, and you say you a Leo, sweetie. It's
sometimes I can't take myself seriously. Last week, someone said, I saw these comments about how much they hate me, but I was like, not the white supremacists spelling my name right. We made it. I was like, we made it.
Girl, they're gonna get girl.
They spell your name right. That's it.
They're gonna know who you are. Period.
I was like, y'all hate me personally. They was like, oh, she's animated the way read. I was like, oh, so you see the vision. You see the trajectory, sweetie. I was like, Johnny got a show with like 8 million followers. I'm like, I'm glad.
Hello.
I'm glad you see what's coming.
You're never going to be like such and such. Well, since you're here, I wanted to say that the video that y'all commenting on has.
Yeah, she's just going. I thought it was me.
I thought it was just you. I was like, I'm gonna sit there and smile appropriately.
Something happened to your microphone, Rebecca.
Right, I'm like just sitting there like blinking out. Like, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was waiting to see the reactions on screen. Like, is it just?
I had to wait for a second because at first it looked like y'all could still hear, so I thought it was just me.
I was going in.
Well, we be bullshitting sometimes. We just be nodding.
I was going. No, y'all all were nodding. Each and every one of you guys. That's why y'all ain't shit.
Support. No, but that's support though. That's community.
Right, that's community. That's how you know. Even though we can't hear you, we're gonna keep saying.
We can't hear you.
I was like, oh, they like what I said. Yes.
And I was gonna get that off.
What else we rocking with today?
Oh man, I can't with y'all. Y'all are too much, man.
Oh my God,
Rebecca, you here? We were just talking about all those cases. It just seems like Groundhog's Day. It's like every week now we having cases of police officers or somebody who thought they could get away with murder, and then some of them do get away with murder. So
most.
Well,
most of them. And that's the thing that people don't like us to say. Because with these particular cases, with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, a lot of people were like, because I was like, okay, you see how the system literally was created to do what it does. I mean, which shocks us or it makes us feel some type of way. But this is what it was designed to do. And that's protect and coddle white supremacy. And as we see, they wanted to make Kyle Rittenhouse look like a meek young man who was just doing what for Americans. And when they say Americans, we know it's white folks. But for doing what he needed to do for Americans. And we never knew, they never really humanized the victims. They were white, but they didn't humanize them because
they're allies.
Right. They were allies with the black folks. And I want people to understand, when I made that comment on the socials and those trolls came after me, it was because I needed them to understand, I don't care if it was 2 black folks that got off on a case that was similar to this. Women lie, men lie more. Numbers don't lie, okay? So I need that to, I don't care if it was 2. I don't care if it was 2 people that were black that got off on a similar case or whatever the case may be. Y'all bring up O.J. Simpson. Y'all bring up, who cares? The numbers don't lie. White folks will constantly get off on this kind of thing forever and ever. And
honestly, we have to stop engaging racists and white supremacists in good faith. We have to stop engaging them as though they're operating in good faith, because all we're doing is aging ourselves and stressing ourselves, going along with their mental gymnastics. They know what's up. And what I've learned, I think the last 2 weeks with the Rittenhouse trial have been really illuminating for me in this way, because I had to and you have to go read. Let me, James Baldwin is like, you think you're the first person to go through something until you read, And I'm like, let me just go read from my black authors and see what they're talking about. And what that reminded me, Austin Channing Brown talks about this, a black author. White supremacy is steeped in gaslighting. That's pretty much what it is, right? Like
Yes,
this
it
idea that
is.
the sky is blue, 2 + 2 = 4. You looking at the blue sky, you looking at the green grass, and they telling you that is not what it is. Lies. This is the next thing, and then they making you do this whole semantics argument. At the end of the day, I have explained it in every scholarly, legal, every kind of way I possibly can to these people why the case don't make no sense. So let me just say this in common sense terms. At the end of the day, y'all know good and absolutely well. None of us, couldn't no Black Lives Matter protester of any race decide they was going to a Proud Boy rally, any white supremacist rally with a gun armed. And first of all, get around to killing anybody because they weren't going to be able to walk around freely with that gun and that thing in the first place as an agitator, let alone manage to shoot 3 people, kill 2, pose an argument that, oh, I thought the unarmed man was more dangerous to me because what if he got my gun that had been strapped to me all night and never fell despite the fact that I was running around, fell down, shot multiple people? It's absurd. It's an absurdity. And then we see them in court getting treated better than Black people that get arrested for shooting chopstick at Dwayne Reed. It's nonsense. It's foolishness. I'm so tired of it. And it would be a different story if they were just here, arguing, oh, it's self-defense. It was self-defense, but it's an unfortunate tragedy or something like that. That's not what they're doing. They're celebrating and heralding this man as some kind of American hero and patriot because at the end of the day, they endorse his actions. Period. Point blank. Done. I don't got no time for them. They can be as mad as they want to be about it. I'm going to say it every day. And the more mad they about it, they're going to be about it. That's the more we're going to talk about it and keep saying it. Someone got to say it.
Yeah, you said something so deep. You said they endorse him. They endorse the white supremacy. They do that. Right after, they done put that boy on the show. That boy was suit and tie only to let him have a conversation and say, I'm not even racist. I follow Black Lives Matter. I support the movement. And people were like, you see, he is a Black Lives Matter supporter. He was no. You want to change the narrative. What we know is what we know. Like you said, when we look at the sky and we know it's blue. Okay. When you look at me, you know I'm a Black woman. There's nothing. There is nothing taking that away. This literally is what it is. But they give him the platform. They endorse it. That boy is going to be like the Zimmerman effect. You're going to become popular. You're going to be on shows now. They're going to choose you.
That's what it is.
That's it. And he's going to be someone who makes money off of this. The smile on his face as soon as he got out. The fist bumps that he's doing with people.
The coaching.
Honoring the people are doing.
The specific line I really had a problem with, and I was like, I'm not going to watch this because I'm not going to let these people raise my blood pressure. But the specific line when he said Kyle Rittenhouse was not on trial, the right to self-defense was on trial. I'm like, oh my God, what committee meeting did they have? And they came up with that's how they're gonna reframe this narrative. It's absolute horrible. Well, there's just no other way around it.
No. Can I get your opinion on this, Ole? Twofold. One, it is aggravating to see how they're lifting Kyle Rittenhouse, but do you see what I see? Because it's kind of pathetic for them to. Kyle Rittenhouse is their hero. Up until this point,
they've never sent out their best.
They're not sending their best.
They never. Hold on. White supremacists have never sent out their best. Never sent out their best. They don't send out their best on the lower level battles of Twitter trolls and YouTube comments, let alone on the larger scale. They never send out their best. That's the problem. That's why, not for nothing. And I hate to, talk about grifters that are guilty of the ultimate sins, but like a Candace Owens, right? Let's take somebody like her. Just the fact that she's quote unquote articulate, you know what I mean? Even that puts the leap years ahead of her similarly goofy, cohort. Because they're not, it's not an impressive bunch. It's not. It's the
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Exactly. No, of course he's not. But look who he's talking to. He's talking to Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson.
So where's the bar?
Tucker Carlson.
Where's the bar? Where's the bar?
In hell.
There is no bar.
It's below. It's low. Yeah.
It's very low.
To the flow. Right. But here's the other thing, Ole. Here's the serious side of this is the story. I think it is out of, you may not have heard about it because it's just getting around. It's out of Georgia, I believe, David, where these 2 men, and we have the video, and give everybody a warning, the video is disturbing because I think this is where, Texas, thank you. This is where I think they want to go. And in fact, this is where we are. Here's a man who's in an argument with another man, right? They're fighting over their son. It's a domestic dispute.
Okay.
One of them pulls a gun and kills him right there on the video. We blurred it out the best that we could. This man has not been charged or even picked up. And I think this is what Republicans really want. They want the wild west where you could kill somebody in the streets and get away with it. Take a look at this video.
From you and fucking.
This is on video. Get off of the property.
Where's my son?
Your ex-husband has showed up. Ouch!
Get off of my property. I'll go get him. I'm supposed to have him at 3:15. And you're playing games telling me that I can pick him up at 6? I'm going to have him pumped. I've already got the pump on the way to your mom's house. Because that's probably where he is. When I'm done working. I get him at 3:15. I get him at 3:15. I don't care if you wanted to see him or not. I get him at 3:15. If you want to see him, you see him up until 3:15. You keep trying to keep my son from me. I'm fixing to drag you and Anne-Marie and everybody else into court. I'm glad this is on video. I'm very Leave! Do it right here. You never use it, motherfucker. God damn it, I'll take it from you.
Call the police. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911. Call 911. I have it on video, Kyle. You did it, not him.
I told all of y'all to leave.
We came to get his son.
He's not here.
She should have told that. She should have told that.
None of y'all should be here. None of y'all should be here. I asked you to leave. I did everything. I did not want to do any of this.
What's his name again?
Right, Olay.
David, what is that man's
so
name?
I believe the father's name that was shot and killed, and it wasn't too obvious in the video because we silenced it and froze it. But his name was Chad Reed, and then I have to get the other guy's name. Basically, he was there to pick up his son for a court-appointed visitation, and I guess the son wasn't there. You could hear a lot of the back and forth in the arguing.
He was just picking up his son.
That son wasn't there.
Yeah, the son wasn't there. He didn't tell him that in the beginning. He wanted to come out, use his rights. It's his property, and they go the extreme. So now we're letting the white people know, especially in this time. For the last few years, 5 years, we've been talking about gun reform and gun rights, right? And that conversation has taken taken a back seat. Especially because it was the NRA, right? That was the big thing. After them school shootings, they would be the first people to speak up. But now we see with these laws that are passing, with these people that are getting off like Kyle Rittenhouse, this is exactly what the conservatives want. They want Marjorie Taylor Greene, gun-toting heifer. This is exactly what the conservatives want. They want people to feel like, stand your ground. Here's your, get a gun and you can do whatever you want. But this is what it leads to, especially with white folks. Let that happen to a black person. The struggle, they would have been in jail 2 seconds. But the fact that this man came to
and we being vilified just by the video, just by the fact that we were having this confrontation. Think about it, just by the fact that there was this woman who's not with this man and she has this boyfriend. Right. They would be the entire narrative. Come on, would be different. Yeah. Baby daddy, baby daddy. They would be talking about how we so quick to anger, emotional violence, ghetto. Why we fighting, look at this woman, this baby mother, that's why the black families is like this, because blah blah. There would be a whole story, the whole community would be being torn up over this one video.
So here's the kicker. Here, real quick, Wayne. Here's the kicker. The girlfriend who was in the car, who was filming it, basically is now trying to get custody of the kids from her now late boyfriend, and the guy that shot her. She wants the kids because she feels like they're not in a safe environment, I guess, but because they were being.
They're not. Neither would she be. Bro.
No. I'm not dispelling that. I'm just explaining it.
Yeah, not you, David.
The one other thing before Dwayne says his piece. William Kyle Carruth, he's the guy that actually he's the boyfriend that shot the father, and no charges have been filed. Police have been silent. They haven't said whether there will be an investigation or anything.
Yeah, so
that's the point.
So, and that's what I was going to say, and Chuck Diesel just said it in the chat. But the reason that probably charges haven't been filed is because of the Castle Doctrine in Texas. That he was on his porch, so he's going to be able to say self-defense. I feared from my life. The man was angry. Blah 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 blah. So, you know, as bad as it is, he probably going to get off with it, and now he got to look at the son.
But you're not
in his
raising my
face.
kids.
But he got to look at the son in his face all the time and know that he killed his father.
No, I'm gonna haunt that man for Chad. You ain't gonna raise my kids. You ain't gonna kill me and raise my kids. See, now that's what I do to white supremacy. Like when we white, ooh, Lord, get me off the screen. Get me off the screen, because they gonna get people killed. Olay.
The whole thing is absolutely absurd, like from beginning to end. Like generally I try not to get in white on white crime. But no,
girl, you better be glad I'm on this camera right now.
There's no point, right? Like, you know how I go.
White on white crime.
Right. I tried to stay out of white people's business because, like, you know what I mean? Like, no, honestly, it escalates to a place. I'm like, I would have never think about it. If I was just watching that video as an innocent black person minding my business, I would never fathom a shotgun was coming. That's crazy. Like, how did that escalate? It wasn't even given. I'm like, I've had lively arguments with Raheem. Like, why would you get a shotgun? That's crazy. And also, let me just say this, for someone else's child, that's the nuttiest part of it. You're going to shoot this man over his child? How you getting that? You notice how his girlfriend was in the car minding her business where she's supposed to be deep in her land? How did he get out there arguing with this couple about their child? Like, stick to the rivers and the lakes that you used to. Like, this is
come on.
No, because he lives. That's his porch. He lives with the girlfriend, and then the kid is there. They should have just started with. They should have just started with the kid is not here. The kid is not here.
That child is not safe.
They should have let that man turn up the way mothers and fathers turn up every day. If parents all over the place, if their visitation, their things are not honored, they get mad, right? Then their parents be upset. They argue amongst each other, whether they together, split up, whatever it is. That was between those two people, him and his ex-wife, to have that conversation. He doesn't even need to be out there arguing with that man, let alone turns up enough to go get a shotgun to shoot this man. Because why? He's mad that he didn't get to see his child. Like, what's unreasonable about that position? You know what I mean? Like, that's insane.
But people are unreasonable. I hate that this has to happen like this, but I hate that there's laws set in place to protect people like this. But it's funny because
let's be honest. Even with the Castle Doctrine in place, if they were different people, different circumstances, they would have been arrested, right?
And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I was going to say, Olay.
A defense to a crime still gets you charged. Yeah. Yes. That's your argument at trial.
If you're black and you try to use this law to protect you, it will be way harder. This man literally just shot this person, blood still fresh on the damn porch, and he gets to sleep at night with that man's son in that house. Because, and y'all can fight me on this, because I know y'all trying to bring this conversation up on the Twitters and such, that race is not an issue. Stop talking about, because that's the conversation they're trying to bring up. My friends are black. Kyle said that he is, for the black movement. And no, it is about race. I need y'all to if we can really be honest and literally look at the laws that are in place and understand that they were meant to protect a certain kind of folk. Okay? And that ain't black folks. If we can be real with that, if we can sit here and have that conversation and be real, and I think we can definitely have some forward movement. But the fact that people don't want to identify this, they look at the Kyle Rittenhouse case, they look at things like this, right, where we should be talking about these laws, who they protect, gun reform, where those conversations should still be going on, where we look at even with the fact that we had to go as far as we did with the Ahmaud Arbery in that case. The race plays a huge part. The way that they describe that man that ain't even alive, the way they describe that man, dirty toenails, heifer, really?
They know that. Really? They know. Listen, they know. They know. That's the thing. They put us in this position in America as black people. It's like we constantly having to explain to people why we're talking about race that they made an issue. You know what I mean? Why are we explaining these problems and this and the next thing? They know. There's a thing Boebert. When Black Lives Matter first came about, right? Oh, remember for the first few years, all the argument ever used to be, we used to have to defend till we're blue in the face every day that Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that their lives don't matter. And they know that, right? It was always logically inconsistent. Everything that you have, it's named after whatever it is. If I have a shop and it's called Olayemi's Closet, it doesn't mean Mandy's Closet, don't matter. They know that. Everybody knows that. If we have autism awareness, it's because we're talking about autism, not breast cancer right now. They know it. But the whole purpose of that strategy was if you're constantly caught in an argument where you have to explain and defend what the movement is called or what it's even about, we never actually get to talk about the substantive issues, right? That's what it is. They know the same thing with Rittenhouse. We did not start calling Rittenhouse a white supremacist, like just out of thin air. We didn't just come up with that because we wanted to imply and project that on him. There's been a lot of conversation about, the left continues to call him a white supremacist, whether or not the left came up with that, blah, blah, blah. The question needs to be, is it true? Is it true? If he started calling him a white supremacist because he, on his public social medias, espoused nothing but white supremacist views via his open and public support for Blue Lives Matter, his open and public support for the Proud Boys, a white supremacist organization, his photograph hanging out with, kicking with, doing the white power symbol. Listen, if it looked like a duck, it quack like a duck, it walk like a duck, it's a duck,
That's it.
right? Okay, so we don't need to engage with them no further. Them arguing with it doesn't make any sense, right? It would be like me getting on TV right now and being like, I love the police. And then y'all being like, you see, Olayemi said she loved the police. Like, I don't every day tell y'all
that one little part.
Yes.
One little part.
That's what it is.
It means the world. Yeah, they'll use
they
it.
only gaslight you.
Yeah, but that's what they do. That's what the other side does. And it's not only the other side, unfortunately. That's why I'm just like, I'm just here. I'm just here so I won't get fined. Because if I'm over here talking about, oh, I'm such a liberal, I'm such this and that, there are people on that side as well that are having the same exact conversation. When we talk about bipartisanship, we can't talk about that without identifying that there are holes in this bipartisanship conversation because you just want us to really run along with something that literally does not include black people. Joe Biden, you had an opportunity to have the conversation when Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty, but what you went out there and said to black people in their face is that you are happy or you're okay with what the law put out, what the law did. You trust in this justice system. My God, today, tomorrow, and forevermore. That lets me know.
Exactly. They love to create this idea that really what the divide is in America is like the left and the right? Like the left and the liberals and the Democrats are all, they're on board and it's just the right. That's our problem. But that's not it. I have a piece actually coming out that basically looks at this argument. It's come on, Pete. I ask myself, in a world where like Black Lives Matter has become the largest civil rights movement, right, in this country, everybody and their mama is protesting, right? Last year in over 550 different places, people protested across this country, and every single day, everybody claims that the criminal system, is working as it's intended. This is not an accident. It's so unjust, but yet we continue to see police budgets being inflated. We continue to see people, being killed. We continue to see them voting in all these different politicians that do these negative things. Why is that? Because they're more aligned than we think. It's not just the right, it's Democrats too. Like, think about a place. I live in New York City, by comparison to other places where you let them tell it about the right, this is some kind of New York progressive utopia. This is where stop and frisk is, Rikers is, all the criminal system, all these terrible things. And we have a Democratic mayor, Democratic governor, Democratic district attorney in each and every borough. So what now? Like I have a whole thread on police killings and it's not the Democratic states too. If it were true that that the blue states or where we have blue government, Democrats were it was all good, then we would have some kind of safe haven in this country, and we don't. That's right. There is nowhere in this country that we don't experience racism. That everything that we're talking about does not happen. Absolutely nowhere. So what needs to be the conversation, and the conversation they don't want to have, is that the left is just as invested in maintaining the status quo as the right. Because at the end of the day, these people have all become beneficiaries of a system that they put in place and they maintain.
Period.
Facts.
Listen,
period.
It's so much that we can go on and on with, and it just boils down to the simple fact that they don't want to tell the truth. They don't want to call a thing a thing, people. They don't want to do that, right? And that's what it is all around the board. We have people that look like us who are sitting at these tables who are afraid to have these conversations because they will no longer be sitting at these tables, right? If they do speak up, or they'll have a target on their back. Their positions will be minimized. Their playtime or TV time will be minimized if they do speak up. If it's not popular at the moment, we know that that when a black situation or a black protest is popular in that moment, they're going to want to use you. They're going to want to have the conversation. But once it's not popular anymore, they need to be able to dictate and narrate the conversation. They need to get their storylines out, and that's always going to be in a way that promotes unity without even talking about the real issue. Y'all can't even see us for people, so how can we move forward? I want to move on to this conversation. I know it's out of nowhere. I know we probably ain't even got no clips or no photos of it, but I really want to shout out Barbados for freeing themselves from colonization,
honestly,
from freeing themselves from the chains of Europe with their ties with Queen Elizabeth and becoming a republic. And I love that for them. There was a conversation online that was saying, because people were like, this is so great, no more colonization for that country, that Caribbean country. But then more people that look like me too, we're in the conversation and we're saying, well, that's the reason why we get tourism. That's the reason why the land has been so successful. That's the reason why all of this is because of, with the ties.
That ain't even kind of true. It's not even kind of true. It's not even based in truth. Like, what are you talking about? Like, all of our countries, we have a tourism industry. The reason we have a thriving tourism industries in the Caribbean is because people look at the Caribbean as a tourist destination because that's what they think of beaches and things, and they don't humanize us as our own countries with our own history. It has nothing to do with the British. The British don't got nothing to do being colonized. That's what I was saying. Being a part of the Commonwealth don't got nothing to do with the tourism industry. In fact, I would wager, because I'm very, as how the Bahamas is very much so still a part of the Commonwealth, and it's ridiculous because what do we get out of it? We don't even get. Have you ever thought about the fact that we're not just colonized by these places and they maintain a strong hold over us as calling themselves like our symbolic figurehead, put themselves on our money, all of that. Forget all of that. But we don't even get derivative citizenship out of it. Think about that. Like, Puerto Rico has a bad shake being a part of America, but they, at the very least, they get citizenship. We don't even get that. I can't go to England all willy-nilly. You don't get nothing out of it. There's no upside.
And British people were commenting. You're right. And British people were commenting, saying things like, for me, I guess I'm not going to go over to Barbados anymore. It's probably going to be it's like, first of all,
then don't.
The British were responsible for thousands of enslaved people there in the land working in Barbados. So let's be honest, they and to be still under their control by Queen Elizabeth, who is literally skin and bones right now. She got about one more day. Hate to say it, but you got about one more day. We don't need that ruling. We don't need that. A black country needs to be free of any white control. I'm proud to come from one of the countries, the first black republic. You know what I'm saying? To make an example, but we don't need none of the rest. Everybody needs to be free. Okay, everybody in needs to be free. All those black countries, all those, anybody, brown and black countries there need to be free. And everybody who's coming to visit, and you're saying that you can't come visit Barbados anymore. Queen. Who cares? Your laws. I mean, ain't nobody checking for you because, like,
and anybody who says that don't visit,
looking for the beaches. They gonna still be looking for the food that tastes good. Okay.
Anybody who says that don't visit. It's like, remember when people were like they boycotted Hamilton knowing they couldn't get no tickets? You remember that? You remember like all the people? That's really what that's like.
I don't even want to go.
There's nobody that actively goes to the Caribbean that's like, hey, yo, I'm not going no more based on what that Caribbean country decided politically. Like, they've never been to Barbados. They have no intention of going.
Yes.
And to be honest, Ole, I honestly did not want to go see Hamilton, and I could not get tickets. But you're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah, me saying, listen.
Flicks.
Let's go on vacation. I'm trying to go to Barbados.
I was like, how y'all boycotting the sold out show?
Okay.
Listen, we're getting ready to take it over to the after party. Ole, thank you so much for doing what you do and coming to hang out with us.
Thanks, Ole. It was always good having you here. Always good having you.
Yes. It was a show today. Y'all don't understand. Like Dwayne said, y'all got a Friday show with a Tuesday, boy. Y'all count y'all blessings on this one. Patreon.com/Patreon.com/the BPD show. All right.
Hey, I love it, Ole. Ole, you know what? You and I'm gonna slide in your DMs, but it's about business because you funny. You
better clean that shit up.
Maybe I worded that a little different, okay? But yeah.
It literally was the B clause of the same sentence, people. Come on. Yes. It's not like I left it hanging out there.
All we heard was you sliding in her DMs.
That's all people gonna hear. That's all people gonna hear.
Look at
the business proposition.
Messy.
I get no respect.
Messy. No, Olay though. They be trying me though. They being Ben and the.
Not about you, Rebecca.
I'm about to say.
They be like, Rebecca, you don't see him. Look, Rebecca, what you think about him? And then Ben would be like, take me down and have me up.
Hey, what you thought about Brother Mac's pictures? What you thought about Brother Mac's 16,000 pack?
Okay,
now I gotta be
before
involved.
We get out of here and go to the after show, I need y'all to drop Brother Mac's pictures for LA to see Dr. Mac and what he looked like.
My God,
Someone DM me because I need to see.
Girl, no, don't put it back on air. Dwayne, watch this. Don't put it back on air. I'm gonna slide in her DMs with Brother Mac's pictures. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna
DM them to you.
Good. Thank you.
All right,
thank you, Rebecca.
Oh goodness, Rebecca,
understand, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Oh man,
bye, thank you again.
Bye. Pause. I love being there.
Let's
bye,
take.
Love you, girl.
Let's take it to the after party, y'all. Let's take it there. Oh, she out for real.
Yeah. I appreciate. I mean, I hate that she had to leave, but I appreciate her leaving like that and leaving a free plug for me. You know. But,
it did.
But before we go to the after party, and I hate to do this and kind of end on a sour note, I just want to put in. Yesterday, Lee Elder passed away at 87. Lee Elder was the first black man to play in the Masters. We know Augusta, they still don't like black people over there, but first black man to play in the Masters, first black man to play in the Ryder Cup. So rest in peace.
Do we have B-roll of it?
Yeah, I
what
do.
Sport? I'm sorry, Dwayne, don't fight me.
Golf.
What sport?
Golf.
Yeah, golf. Yeah.
Golf. Okay. Okay.
So definitely a legend.
Okay. Yeah, legend. I don't know him, but if he's the first, it's crazy because a lot of our legends are passing away.
Just, it's that time.
It's crazy.
That time. Dwayne, run that B-roll because I just want people to be able to see and visualize. And thank you for. I know we had a jam-packed show. Definitely thank you for bringing that up. And as you run the B-roll, give the historical context of this brother.
Yeah, man. Like I said, Augusta National, where the Masters is played, for a long time, they ain't allowed black people to be members at the course. It was, I think, in the last 5, 6, 7 years that they allowed their first woman, first black person to be a member. So, and we all know golf is one of those sports that's kind of been ruled by the white elite. So this man was a trailblazer. First one to play in the Masters, like I said. First one in the Ryder Cup, which is the United States versus Great Britain, England, one of them other countries. But yeah, opened the doors for a lot of black people. Tiger Woods had a thing yesterday where he spoke on Lee Elder and his significance. So as y'all can see some pictures.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And he was 87. 87
years old.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
A life well lived, man. A life well lived. So I don't think that's a sour name. I love honoring the ancestors.
Yeah. I hope all these young black golfers, because they'll like to push these people out of history. That's why, I get, I didn't know who that was, but I hope all these young golfers do get an opportunity to see him in books, to read about him, to, find him online easily, stories on him, all of that. I hope those become accessible to any young black golfers. I really do. Because it's more than just Tiger Woods who has decided to...
Absolutely, Rebecca.
Yes, who just literally said that he will no longer be playing because of his car accident. But there's more than just Tiger Woods. We do have, as I just learned today, thank you, Dwayne, black legends, people who are the first, people who led the way, pioneers in this thing.
Pioneers. I was just about to say that. Pioneers. Definitely. Yeah. Definitely pioneers. And again, no, not a sad note. Thank you. We would have been remiss church word, if we had not honored our ancestor this morning before we get ready to take it out of here. So that said, let's take it to the after party. Patreon.com/like it or not. Oh, and again, we're piecing this together in real time, but we want to do a Patreon-a-thon so that I can personally thank. And when I say personally, I mean with you becoming a patron and the funds that you're going to help provide. Thank everybody on our team, from Rebecca to Georgia to Dwayne to David to Josh, and I feel like I forgot somebody. Who did I forget? If I forgot anybody,
bitch, me.
It's only because I'm getting old. James. I said James. I said James.
Did you say me? No.
I said
no. You didn't. Even Rebecca shaking her head. No. It was like, first of all, you called me DJ Exclusive yesterday. Like, who the F is that? And now you forget me.
Wait, did I call you? Wait, hold on. Wait, what did I call you
Exclusive. DJ Exclusive.
Listen, brother, listen. You know I am just holding on. I am just literally holding on by a thread every single moment of every single day. That's close enough. But no, for real. I'm joking. DJ Exclusive.
Are we
I want to do this for them.
now?
We're not there yet. We kind of got off because I messed up DJ Exclusive. What I'm trying to ask the people to do is on Friday to come to our Patreon-a-thon. We want to get as many new patrons as we can on Friday so that we can give something to everyone who's here, a bonus. Christmas, holiday, I don't care what you don't call it, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever, a gift to us to our team members on Friday. So we're going to put that together. Patreon.com/like it or not, DJ Exclusive. Now we're going to go over to that.
Hey, wait a minute. We gotta have another question, but we'll also make sure we drop cash apps as well too, because I just thought about something else.
and a big shout out to Georgia for it, man. Y'all, if y'all missed the on the clock segment this morning with Georgia live from in front of the courthouse, that was dope. So that's another reason we need y'all to come on out and support the Patreon-a-thon so we can keep sending people out in these streets.
That's right. That's right. We get some clips of that because that was dope. So, all right, y'all, let's take it over to the after party.
Time goes by and yet I wonder.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much again for tuning in today. Like it or not, Patreon.com/like it or not, Patreon.com/the BPD show. Make sure that you go join me. Patreon-a-thon is going down Friday. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for more information and details. You don't want to miss it. Thank y'all again so much for joining. It was a damn great show. And if you're not a member already, we'll see you tomorrow. If you are, we'll see you at the after party.
Made a promise to myself and I repeat it in my head. Set your mind free. Set your mind free. No one knows what I've been through, but this is the end of me and you. Set your mind free. Made a promise to myself. This time I will keep it. Where there's a will, yeah.
And your affirmations for today, your affirmation for my people that are not patrons. I understand to embrace new beginnings, I must let go of what is holding me back. I understand that to embrace new beginnings, I must let go of what is holding me back, y'all. Y'all be great. Love y'all, mean it.
Goes by and yet I wonder, why do we put each other through hell? Why can't we just get over ourselves? I know I should. You cast your spell and I went under. I know the laughter and the pain. Will I ever love again? I don't know if I can take it anymore. Yeah, so I stay here and hold my heart when you walk out the door. Yeah, made a promise to myself and I repeat it in my head. Set your mind free. Set your mind free. No one knows what I've been through, but this is